Hello, YouTube. Back at the outdoor kitchen. Now, let's review. We have done the lower cabinets, okay? We installed all of our steel frames from All Things Barbecue. That went pretty easy. Never done that before. And then we did our concrete countertops, which I have done before, but never outside, and we've never polished them. So we managed to figure that out. And in continuing with the theme of doing things that we don't know how to do them, we're now gonna clad the entire outside in a beautiful natural stone. I've done tile work, but this is a whole different ballgame because tiles are all the same size and these are all over the place. I don't really know how this is gonna go, but we're gonna try and make it look like we do. Follow along and watch us get stoned. Put stone, watch us apply, just go to the little flying moth. Stone. Now this is the first issue. We put in this beautiful pond and paver area in my backyard, which is great, love it, but it kind of removes the ability for us to drive a vehicle back to where we need it to drop off supplies. So we had to dump all of the stone way out here by the treehouse. So in order to clad the outside of the cabinets in stone, we have to get all of the stone from here to over there. And I also threw my back out like a week and a half ago. So this is gonna be fun for Craig. Here is the natural stone we're using. This is, I don't know, shale? Is that a type of stone? I wonder what this is. I would love to see the process and how they get this stuff too. They like pull it out of the earth and cut it. As you can see, they're all different shapes and sizes. Skinny ones, big ones. So I don't know if there's a specific way you're supposed to do this. Obviously, there's not gonna really be straight lines or uniformity. I think you just go for it. All you masons out there are probably quaking in your boots at the thought of me trying to do this, but don't worry, that's what the comment section's for. There's also these corner pieces. I'm guessing those go in the corners. Now, this is my thought. This could be completely wrong, but I think it might be a good idea to do the corners first. Yeah? Maybe? Because then you have like a good start-stop place and you can kind of work your way over there. Plus the corners are like already specific sizes and then we're not trying to fit things in. My other question is, can you cut stone with a tile saw? Because that's really the only way that I have to cut it, and we got to cut around all the different appliances. I have so many questions. But why ask questions when you can just start doing things? Here goes nothing. I have this very old rigid tile saw that I've had for years. I just used it to do the backsplash at the cabin. Tile's hard, and the blade that I bought for it says it'll cut granite, and granite's a rock, right? I think. So I don't know why this wouldn't cut the stone. We're gonna give it a whirl. Get this thing set up, and then if this doesn't work, we could also try a grinder, or a hammer, or a rock pick. We know where the stone is, over by the treehouse. We brought the tile saw over here. Now, the grout or mortar, I think it's mortar that you hook the stone on with. Again, we couldn't drive over here, so if you follow me this way, here's all of our mortar in this shop. So we also have to take this all the way around to the backyard. We have two different types of mortar. We have gray, because they didn't have enough of all the color that we needed. We have gray, which we're gonna use to hook the stones on, and then we have white that we're gonna use for mortaring in all the cracks, grouting. So, this over there. Greg! Well, these are the corner pieces. In my mind, start with the corners. Don't know if that's right. As you notice, there's like a short side and a long side. Looking at pictures, one thing I picked up on is you don't want to do all the short side on one side, I don't think. So you can kind of like alternate, go in different directions. And then we'll come back and fill in the spaces? Or do we start at the bottom and work our way up all the way across? I don't know. So this is what I'm thinking. I'm worried that if I do all the corners first, like these heavy ones, once you get them up here with nothing supporting them, that they're gonna wanna sag down. So I feel like maybe the right thing to do is to start at the bottom and then just work your way up and fill in corners where you need it. So that's what we're gonna do. Yeah, that's the right thing. Let's go get some stone. Yeah, this is a good idea. Do stone. That's what we want to do. That'll look nice. Don't want to do that. Now, we are going to be over-grouting this, which means that some of these bigger gaps and stuff is fine. We're going to fill that all in with grout, and it's a look. But then again, what the heck do I know? I think the smart thing to do is, yeah, just kind of like lay out a little bit that generally fits, and then keep adding pieces in. But we're gonna need to get some smaller pieces down here. I think we might need a chisel, like a masonry chisel, that we could set and then hit to break things. Because the more I thought about it, the tile saw would probably work, but we don't want perfectly straight lines because then it's gonna look stupid. So maybe breaking the pieces is the best bet. Yeah. You know, before we start on this, I thought maybe it would be a good idea to do a little research. And that's what YouTube's for. So, I'm gonna see what I can find online about putting natural stone up.
6 minutes later.
All right, I watched a quick YouTube video on installing stone veneer, and I learned a few things, which is always helpful. You should watch YouTube if you're trying to figure out how to do something. I figured out that we can definitely do the corners first. That's actually how it was recommended in the video I watched. And he started from the top and worked down, which just goes to show that the mortar's gonna hold these on here just fine. They're not gonna wobble all over the place. So I'm gonna get the corners on there first. Another thing is that when you're installing stone veneer on the outside of a house, they do lath, like metal lath, and then they do a mortar scratch coat. But I also did some other research, and I'm pretty sure we don't have to do the scratch coat because we're installing it on cement board, which essentially is our scratch coat. So we should be able to just butter our stone with mortar and stick them on there. But I also learned that it's a good idea to swallow a fly. I also learned it's a good idea to wet your stones down first before you put the mortar on there so that it doesn't draw too much moisture away from the mortar, and to wet down your scratch coat, or in this case, our concrete board. So, well, that's what I'm gonna do. Stick some corners on here and see what kind of trouble I can get myself in. Look at that, Mom. I'm a mason. Now, as far as grouting goes, I wasn't sure because I'm just done tile before. I've never done stone like this. I wasn't sure if I needed to do like spacers to keep it all spaced evenly. They're just eyeballing this, and they said about a 1/2 inch is good for getting your grout in there. So I'm literally just gonna kind of eyeball what looks natural, and we'll try and keep that consistent throughout the entire thing. How many times have you heard us say before a video, we don't know what we're doing, but that's all right, we'll figure it out? Well, this video, we do know what we're doing. And what we do know is that we're doing something that we don't know what we're doing. See what I did there? So, I put up all the corner pieces yesterday on this little bar, and then I was thinking I could have done more, but I wanted to let them sit overnight just to ensure that they're hooked on really well. I didn't want to put up a bunch of pieces and then find out that for whatever reason they weren't adhering and they were all going to fall off. But after letting them sit overnight, I can tell they're on there really good and strong. So I think this is going to work. I think my thought that the cement board is basically our scratch coat, all that makes sense. So today, we're ready to rock and roll. Get it? Rock and roll. And by that, I mean we're just gonna be putting up stone. Now this is kind of like doing a puzzle. You just have to find pieces that generally fit pretty well into the spaces that you need. I found that a masonry chisel and a hammer works pretty well to break down pieces if you need a specific size. The stone is pretty strong, so just trying to use the masonry chisel and break it doesn't always work. But I realized that if I go over to the tile saw and I score a line generally where I want to cut on the back and then hit it with the masonry chisel on the front, that it actually snaps pretty much exactly the size piece I want. So I'm going to be using that technique a lot to get different shapes and sizes. Why don't I just cut all the way through with the tile saw? Well, then it would be a perfectly straight line and it wouldn't look like natural stone. So the combination of cutting and breaking seems to work pretty good. So we're going to mix up some fresh mortar and get to slapping stone up here. One of our struggles yesterday at the beginning was getting the consistency of our mortar correct. I just think it was too dry at the beginning. One thing I found online was you know it's good if you can take a scoop of the mortar and you can tilt your thing sideways and it hangs at a 90 degree without falling off. Obviously, if you put too much on there, it's going to fall off. But that's what we found online. Seems to work pretty good. Whew, that was a process. 2.5 days later, we have the entire thing clad in stone. Gotta say, this is really like putting together a puzzle more than anything else, hunting to try and find the exact right piece to fit in there. It was really fun for the first hour. and then it was just annoying and a lot of hard work and kind of hard on your body. And I know it doesn't look amazing right now. It looks a little 70s, but we're about to change the look drastically by over-grouting. What is over-grouting, you ask? I don't know. I think you just grout it, but then you overflow it a little bit to kind of give it a more even look. We're going to use white. That's what my wife wants. I think it's going to look pretty good, and I think it's going to look completely different than it does now. Now, in installing the stone, I actually learned quite a few things. Number one is that the consistency of your mortar mix is everything. If it's too dry, the pieces aren't going to stick. If it's too wet, well, the pieces, they're not going to stick either. So you got to find that happy balance between too wet and too dry. I also mentioned at the beginning of the video that I heard online that you should wet down your cement board, which is true, unless your mix is a little on the wetter side. Then you don't need to wet down the cement board because wetting it down actually also keeps the pieces from sticking. So there's a lot of just playing around and finding out what works. Eventually, I discovered that the wetter the mix is, it actually works a little bit better. Not too wet, but a wet mix, don't wet down the cement board, and they seem to stick on there pretty good. I mean, they're on there like rock solid now, and when we put the grout in there, I'm sure it's gonna lock them in even better. I hope. So with all that being said, let's try and screw this up again by grouting it. And there are a lot of flipping grout lines. Over-grouting. So basically, from what I understand, we mix up our mortar, which is white. We want it to be a little thinner this time because we're gonna put it in these piping bags. And then it's kind of like, you know, frosting a cake. You just squirt it in all the little cracks and crevices, smooth it out, let it sit up for a while, and then go back over it with a wire brush. This is what I'm told. Have I done it? No, of course not. But that doesn't mean we're not gonna try. That's the wrong mortar. We should use white, not gray. It's kind of like milking a cow. Got to get the technique down. I don't know if I'm doing this right. If Peter Piper picked a pail of piping peppers, I was trying to think of something that was rock related, pebbles, piping pebbles, then how many pebbles would Peter Piper have piped with his pebbles? This has been a lot of work, but it's looking pretty good. Now, as the mortar dries, it's gonna lighten up a lot. It's white mortar. And we over-grouted, which means there's a bunch of mortar smeared on the rock. So it's kind of gonna be like a German schmear look, over-grouting look, hopefully. So what we do now, Maple, calm down, is we let it dry a little bit, and then once it dries, not all the way, it's still a little bit soft, we'll go over the entire thing with a brush, kind of clean it up, smooth it out, and then I think it's done. Maybe? Right? Be free. We'll find out.
Brush, 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 brushy, brush, 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 brush. Clean, 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 sweep, 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 clean, clean. Wash, 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 wash. Peel. Peel, 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 peel. Peel some more, peel, peel. Clean, clean again, clean, 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 clean.
It's done. I can't believe it. It seems like it took forever, but the important thing is we did it. This was such a fun project because we did a lot of things that we've never done before. I mean, we've done concrete countertops before, but we've never polished them, and we've never installed cabinet bases for an outdoor kitchen, and we sure as heck have never done our own stonework. Did we do things wrong? I'm sure you'll let us know in the comment section, but the important thing is we got it done, and I have to say the end result speaks for itself. I think it looks pretty fantastic. If you would like to do your own outdoor kitchen, check the links in the video description. There's a link to All Things Barbecue where we got everything we needed to make this happen. There's a link to the counter forms for the concrete countertops. There's a link to our Patreon. If you're not signed up on Patreon, you're missing out on a ton of behind the scenes footage and our biannual Patreon contest. So make sure you check all that out. And a huge thanks to All Things Barbecue for making this whole project come together. See ya! You know, hanging stone is not the easiest task because you have to hunt and search for just the right place to put a stone, like this square space right here, which is also interesting because this video is sponsored by Squarespace. You see, if you want to create a professional looking website and you're not a web designer, it can be difficult because where do you even start? Might I suggest starting with Squarespace? They got your back and they have everything covered to create a professional looking website, and you don't even have to know what you're doing. For example, you just get on squarespace.com, you pick the template that best fits your business, and you plug in all your information. And if it's still not quite the way you want it, it's okay because all their templates are customizable. Oh look, another Squarespace. See, Squarespace is also doing some really cool stuff with AI, like this. Squarespace's Blueprint AI, it's basically this website builder. You get a fully custom website in just a few steps. They use basic information about your industry, goals, and personality to generate premium quality content and personalized design recommendations. I know, crazy. It's also incredibly easy to list products onto Squarespace websites, and you can do unlimited products, like these brand new hats that we just listed to our website, bourbonmoth.com. Now, if you want to try Squarespace, just head to squarespace.com/bourbonmothwoodworking and you'll get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Or you can just use the coupon code bourbonmothwoodworking at checkout. There's a link right down there and in the video description. So, go, build a website, do great things.